is stuttering a little bit, maybe because it's late at night and it didn't expect me to be on. Hello, happy Tuesday morning. Today is October 25th. Wow. We're already headed right into November, just like that. I mean, it just feels like a couple of weeks ago it was 110 degrees out here in Vegas. Now I'm putting on a sweater and about to get the heaters and everything primed up. This is an impromptu um, stream. Obviously, you saw from the thumbnail. Official big news hit earlier this afternoon with the return of Henry Cavill, who is, in my opinion, even though I've grown up with all sorts of Supermen, Henry Cavill has turned out to be my favorite. I loved Man of Steel. I loved him in Batman versus Superman. I think he is the prototypical Superman. I know he is divisive, but every Superman, every character actor who will ever take the place of a Batman or a Superman is going to be divisive because people cling and clutch to the Superman or Batman that they grew up with, and they have a death grip that takes time for it to loosen. I have a lot of people who, and that was a problem in 2006 with Superman Returns. The movie should have never been made. It was made based on nostalgia because people, in my opinion, couldn't let go of what was my childhood uh, Superman. So, but now, like I said, Christopher Reeve was great. He'll always have a place in my heart. He was my Superman as a 6-year-old, but I'm not 6 years old anymore. And Cavill just fits the modern bill for Superman. And he had been in limbo for a very long time. Man of Steel was released in May of 2013. And obviously he was in other movies subsequently to that, but it has been a proper 5 years since we've had Superman on the big screen in cinemas, and we broke that streak when Black Adam was released, albeit for 5 seconds. It was a clarion call to let you know that Superman was back. Now, the announcement came through Henry Cavill's own. I got it through Henry Cavill's Instagram page. However, it was re-shared through DC Comics official Instagram page. It was it was reshared through Warner Brothers Picture official page, and all the official media. So this is not just a rumor; it's official. Now that answer goes to the question of a lot of people are like, "Well, he's just saying that there's more to come." No. Remember what I always say when it comes to DC films. Two things you need to apply to not make yourself look really, really silly: common sense and patience. We've covered the patience part. Now let's get to the common sense. Do you actually think, with the bad will that DC Films and the previous regime has had, that they are going to put him in a cameo and then days later make this announcement on not only his platform but all of their official platforms if he wasn't locked into their future? Think about that. Think about how silly that sounds. And it's I always a chance we could be wrong, but once again, we're dealing with a group of people that appear to have observed what has gone before. There's a reason why there wasn't a headless Superman in Black Adam, even though there was a plan for there to be one. There's a reason why that didn't happen. There's a reason why there was an announcement after Black Adam was released. This is all being choreographed, and finally, for the first time in a long time, there is a plan in place. So I don't think there's any question at all that Henry Cavill um, has signed some type of deal that will put him in the red S in the Cape for at least multiple movies. I mean, you know, I don't know how more official he could have made it, other than not just him saying it; it's simultaneously being shared on official, not my YouTube page, not your best friend's Twitter page, the official Warner Brothers sites. So I was happy. Um, it's just, well, with all the things that the David Zaslav gets criticized for, he's the corporate end of things is the things that have to happen, but at the same time, he's doing things that are getting people excited about the brand. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play the announcement and stuff that we all had. Now, this is directly from Warner Brothers' actual page. So, like I said, it's not just me.
Until the weekend was over before posting this, because I wanted to give you all a chance to.
Oops, hold on, guys. I'm having some stuttering internet problems. Let me get off the Cavill page. That's why. All right.
Watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time. But I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support, and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
All right, that's from the horse's mouth. And we're on Warner Brothers' official site, and here's Warner Brothers pictures. Repost from Henry Cavill. A very small taste of what's to come, my friends. The dawn of hope renewed. Thank you for your patience. It will be rewarded. That's, like I said, we've covered the patience. We've all been patient. Now it's to the common sense part of it. So there we go. Let me go ahead and say hi to the chat for those of you who are up at what is like 3:14 in the morning, 12:14 me. Hi, Vince. How are you doing? Yeah, late stream, like I said. And by the way, we're going to be doing more of these. Listen, I am a night owl. I work pretty much all day, and I get home from whatever I'm doing at around 11, and I'm still wound up. And a lot of times when Enoch does streams, he's on the East. He's on the Eastern time zone, so I can't chime in a lot. He's already off the air and in bed by the time I get home. To me, this is where I get my nights going as far as like after my workday goes. So I still got a lot of energy going on, and I still got a lot. I haven't had a chance unless I jump in on other people's streams in places where it sounds, it looks horrible, not as bad as it does here or now, but so I haven't had my chance, to chime in with my own voice. So we're going to be doing a lot of these. We're probably going to be doing, I would say, depending one every other night, and then obviously we're rolling to our normal streams. They won't be very long. Like that other night when I did my 5-minute review of Black Adam, and we ended up on there for 3 hours or an hour and a half or whatever. But just a couple minutes to give you my point of view, and then to hear some of your points of view too, because I know you guys, a lot of you watch other shows too, and I haven't had a chance to interact. Yeah. Old people stay up late and get up early. I like Superman Returns for what it was, but like I said, the reason why they made it was try to bank on nostalgia instead of moving forward with a new Superman and a Superman for the era that it was being released. They basically were trying to tap into a Superman that if you were born on the day that Superman was released in theaters, you were in your late 20s, almost heading into 30. That was not your Superman. So what they really need to do, and no matter in any of these legacy characters that have been around decades, they really need to understand that you have to look around in the world that you're in. And even though these are fantasy and superhero characters, they're made special because they're juxtaposed on the real life that we live in, as far as the atmosphere that we live in. What we've been through as a country since Christopher Reeves was Superman, we've changed. I mean, the Cold War was over with. We've had 9/11, we've had COVID, we've had all these things that have happened since that Superman was in the cave. You can't, if you try to put some other era of Superman into this era, it looks like a cartoon, and it really doesn't serve those previous Supermans. Those are Supermen for their time. George Reeves, Christopher Reeves, all these guys, did a great job for the era they were in. But if we're going to move forward and not be cartoonish, we have to embrace the present. And that's what Henry Cavill represented for me. And that's why I wish that there had been better management prior to that to be able to realize that it would, not everything is going to be a hit right out of the gate. But it looks like, like I said, more and more we're going to be hearing less and less about what the old management couldn't do and what the new management is doing. And I'm really excited. That was the perfect timing to have that, right after Black Adam currently has a worldwide box office total of $209 million. Now, people can kind of denigrate that as much as they want to, but if this movie breaches the 450 to 500 million, yeah, that's not a money in comparison to a lot of other comic book movies, but the circumstances for all those movies are very different from the one that Warner Brothers Discovery walked into. They were not there at the beginning of this movie. They were not there when this movie was being made. They were not there at the beginning when this advertising campaign was being planned out. They weren't there for any of that. They came in at the back end and did everything they could, including plussing up guys like me with lots of stuff to give away for Black Adam to promote it towards the end and the down stretch. So there was a lot of things, and there are no other major DC movies that ramped up into Black Adam and going down from Black Adam. So they walked into that situation. If they're able to, you figure they spent $200 million on this. Let's add another $100 million on advertisement. So there's $300 million right there. So $500 million clears you $200 million, which, like I said, under normal circumstances where everything was set up right and everything was the skids were greased for a movie like a B character like this to be released, I would say even more. Like I said, the Talking Raccoon made good money, but Guardians of the Galaxy is, like I said, probably gets people fired if it's released without the MCU. So you have to understand where you're at. And when you look at Black Adam's numbers, which I think are pretty solid right now, in a comparison to maybe 2 years from now, when they finally get into a Man of Steel, or I'm not even going to call it Man of Steel 2, when they go into whatever they call the next Superman movie, that is going to be completely Warner Brothers Discovery. That is going to be completely, if it's The Rock's production company, it's going to be completely Seven Buck Productions. It's the advertising campaign is going to be theirs. The concept, script writing, all that is going to be there. They're going to have over whatever you didn't like about Black Adam. There will probably be much better oversight. Whereas Dwayne or whoever writes the script pushes it to Warner Brothers Discovery and says, here's what we got. And they look at it and critique and say, okay, we want you to make these changes, and push it back to them. And you have a back and forth like that. That probably wasn't there to the degree it needed to be for Black Adam. So when we finally get to movies that are completely Warner Brothers Discovery and whatever DC head that they have, I think you're going to see a lot more consistency. But today's the first step. Anything we want back, anybody who enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, if you wanted more of it, the first step was putting Cavill back on the board. Now, in regards to restore the Snyderverse, all right, it's been 5 years. No one wants to see an end to the Darkseid arc as much as I do. I think it damages Warner Brothers' credibility by not finishing something major like that they started. And I think it would be stupid to not use Darkseid. And I think it would be even dumber to bring in somebody new as him after you've had an epic performance by Ray Porter and you finally got a chance to see him on screen. There's no reason. So I do think eventually they need to get back to that storyline. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It doesn't have to happen in the next couple of years. We have the luxury now under better leadership to tell different stories that can ultimately lead to that. That story has been sort of concluded in a way because in either version, the 2017 Justice League or the Zack Snyder's Justice League, that story came to a conclusion, even though we know Darkseid is planning on coming back. He said, ready, their minds will do it the old way. But we have time in between to establish whatever these new guys want to establish. And somewhere down the line, if they want to revisit that, great. But it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. We don't need to put a stranglehold on these new guys and their new ideas to to make it happen. We don't need to badger anybody to make it happen. It's just a matter of time, common sense, and patience. The right people were watching what was being said and what was being followed and what was being supported. So right now, we just need to sit back and let these guys, give these guys room, and eventually, like I said, I don't think you can go forward with these Justice League characters without eventually ending up with Darkseid. He is one of those few handful of characters in the modern DC era that they have that can unite people and make a uniting story for just about any level of DC storytelling you want to make. So patience is all I'm asking for everybody else. Okay, so let's see. All right, so we're going to go up and down the stream because, like I said this was going to be a short one. So, all right, Mighty Rash, really like the flick. Just wish they established back as and rivalry Hawkman from ancient times. Yeah, I could have used a little bit more about that, but like I said, I think they had a certain amount of boxes that they had to check off, and they hit the basic ones. But we might get some more character building. Like I said, this isn't the end. Anything you liked about Black Adam, and anything you liked from what you saw about Black Adam, you're gonna see more. You're gonna see more. It's like I said, and this regardless to how this movie does, I mean, it only needs to do good enough, because the next time around we're talking about something much bigger. People are saying that, well, if this doesn't reach a certain amount, they're not going to do a sequel and Cavill won't be back. That's nonsense. All right, fans, and I'm one of them, think that major corporations and businesses think like us, that we react to things really quick and we just jump online and we just say them. Zaslav and whoever is going to be running this, Hiram Garcia or DeLuca, these guys are not people who are reactionary. Before that cameo was greenlit, The Rock sold them a plan, and they bought into that plan. And that plan, you saw a little bit more of that plan today with the announcement of Henry Cavill. So great that this movie is going to probably be a little bit more profitable, than maybe it wasn't without Cavill's appearance. But you rest assured, they weren't sitting around twiddling their thumbs, sweating, thinking, "Oh my God, it didn't make this number. We cancel everything." No. For the first time in a 9-year period, we have people who have a plan laid out, and it sounds like they're going to stick with it. So, yeah, we're going to get more. We're going to get more of them, more of Adam Smasher, more of Hawkman, more of JSA. So, all right, H Barts. I don't see how the old regime felt so bad when a few months ago the regime, along with The Rock. Okay, I don't see how the old regime felt so bad within a few months the new regime, along with The Rock, are correcting. Yeah. Just hearing the fact that they said no for so long to Superman, Superman just being in, we've only had 5 seconds of Superman since Zack Snyder's Justice League, basically. And since the Man of Steel, we've only had 5 seconds of Superman in that cameo. And look where the conversation is taking us. There are people that are legit excited about that. Like I said, I had some people who teared up, grown-ass men, teared up when he spoke. I didn't even hear the John Williams theme song. There were people cheering and clapping, and it was so loud that I didn't even hear it. I didn't even hear what he said. I knew what he said, but I didn't hear it when I was watching it live. Just from the cameo, just from an announcement that he's back. Just imagine the ramp up and the hype up you could have had putting him in a movie. They could have said yes to that. Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich had an opportunity for a very long time, 6 years it sounds like, to say yes to that. I don't understand what they were thinking. I will never truly understand their mentality. I will never truly understand the genesis behind their decision making. But yeah, it is. I don't see, like I said, and it goes back to them just not being the right people for that job, especially in Hamada's case. I am not going to sit here and hate on Walter Hamada. He was put in a bad position. He was never the person for the job. I hope he does well wherever he goes next, but he just wasn't the right person for this IP, this group of IPs. And you need somebody for better or for worse, who's excited to be putting their hands on this stuff. The Rock is excited to put his hands on this. David Zaslav is excited to have Superman in the war chest. And their excitement. They'll make mistakes. They'll screw up, but when your aim is true, you're going to get good things out of it. So I'm really excited about all this, and I am ready to sit back and accept what they're ready to give me. I have a story in my head, but I'm not the storyteller. I would love to see the Dark Side story arc ended and resolved sooner or later. But you know what? I am now ready to, sit back, kick up my feet, buy a movie ticket, and just be anticipating what's next. And sometimes that's all you really need, to have people, having those good conversations instead of those WTF conversations. So, but yeah, I'm with you. All right. Now we just need Affleck staying or leaving confirmation. Yeah, I think that one's going to take a little bit longer, simply because he's involved in some stuff right now. I do think he, with the current excitement around, like I said, when you go somewhere and your work environment starts to improve to where people want to show up and people want to be around, you look at that from the outside. If you've left, sometimes you're like, wow, I want to be part of that. And if they continue to create an atmosphere that people want to be a part of, now you're starting to see, even though we had a lot of hot air about creators are never going to work with Warner Brothers again because they're cutting this or cutting that. That was bullshit. That was always bullshit. James Gunn is there. Matt Reeves is there. The Rock is there. And like I said, most people who are at that level and in that industry understood what Warner Brothers was prior to Discovery purchasing them. They're not stupid. All right. They know they worked with, a lot of them worked with the previous regime prior. One of them in question right now, The Rock. The Rock worked with the previous regime while he was making this movie. So you don't think that his word is going to mean to things to other creators and stuff like that? Most people that are looking at Warner Brothers Discovery having to do right now understand what they have to do and what's going on. There are some fans that don't, but let's be blunt. Fans don't run studios. All right. Fanboy logic doesn't do anything but, put together the pieces. We're witnesses to what they're doing. All right. All your pundits, all your YouTubers, all your scoopers and all that, nothing happens for real until the people who are doing the stuff actually do the stuff. We're just witnesses. We're on the sidelines. We got our face pressed up against the window. The actors and creators and directors and producers, they're inside the game. So they know how the company was ran prior. And slowly but surely, you will start to see primary people start coming back. Some of those bridges that people thought were burned, you know what? In Hollywood, most of that stuff is fireproof. If there's money to be made, they're going to make it. If there's profit to be made, somebody's going to sit down at the table for you. People who said never 6 months ago, pop up again. And I don't know how many times I heard so many people say Cavill was done as Superman. Everybody needed to move on. And yet here we are. So I guess never arrived today at one in the afternoon. So like I said, I think we're in a good spot. But if Affleck is he's in a good place now in his life. He's married to J-Lo. 2 50-year-olds that should not look like that, but do. And now they're getting together. So if the hot people are going to get together, where does this sleeve stack looking guy like me, how am I going to get a bite? All right. Anyway, but he's in a good place now. The company's in a better place than it was when he left. Alan Horn is there advising. The Rock's there having fun. And like the Rock being a big kid about all this, it makes it fun. Regardless of what you thought about Black Adam, The Rock is legit having fun. And it's contagious. The Rock's energy is contagious. And I think that's where a lot of their success has come from. All right. So, Turan Prima. Morning, guys. Cavill's back. Yes. Cavill's back. That's why I'm here. That is why I am here. So, let me go ahead and I'm going to mute myself real quick and see if I'm stuttering. All right, looks like we're good on YouTube, even though I'm jamming up and I'm freeze screening. So if I start to robot speak or whatever or freeze up, guys, let me know in the chat room. So all right, so H Bart again. Oh, by the way, H Bart, I got your message. If you haven't, just go ahead and send me your address, and I'll get that out to you. Yes, to both of the items that you asked for, I will be able to supply you with those. All right. The old regime looks even worse. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They do. And like I said, I hate to sling another arrow back at these guys, but they could have had this. Goodwill will cover up a lot of mistakes. Goodwill will you can if you're doing the best you can and you're somewhat listening to the fans, not being slaves to the fans. Obviously you're the one that has to tell a story. But if there's enough goodwill there, people will give you the benefit of the doubt. All right, that's what Marvel has. Marvel has the benefit of the doubt. Not all their movies are great. All right, sorry. Out of the 30 movies, I always say just under half of them. If I didn't know what I knew now while I was going to see this movie because I thought I had to go see all the movies, I would have skipped a lot of them. I would damn sure would have skipped every Thor movie. But those movies make money. Those movies generate energy. Why? Because Marvel has generated the benefit of the doubt. They can put out a bad movie and everybody and their mother will defend it. And everybody and their mother to a certain point will go see it. Now they might all now make, a certain amount of money as the previous ones, but they'll make good enough money to where their momentum is going because they have the benefit of the doubt. Goodwill does that. And at no point in time during the last regime did I ever see them try to generate that kind of goodwill. And it would have been simple. It would have been simple. If the Rock did it in 3.5 months of the Zaslav regime, how many years did he have with the previous regime? So he proved that it could have been done, and it could have been done quickly. So yeah, it does make them look bad because all of this was at their disposal. Everything the Rock and Zaslav are doing now, the previous regime could have done, and they could have done it better because they were the ones that started it. Zaslav came in at the end of things. All right, Hamada and all those guys, Imrak, were there the whole time. So, so yeah, I mean, it does make them look bad. I mean, I hate to continue to dump on them, but it's really hard now in a short amount of time. And within, the moment that Zaslav took the corner office and now a lot of stuff has happened. Yes, a lot of stuff has gotten axed, but you know what? When you get to the point where you're putting one of your arguably your biggest IP besides Batman back on the screen, a lot of the general audience is not going to care about all the other nuts and bolts and all the other stuff like that. A lot of the stuff he's cutting, I didn't even hear about it until he cut it. Sorry. All right. The general audience cares about Superman. The Rock knows it. Zaslav knows it. And like I said, this goodwill right here is going to make a lot of the stuff. There might be some hard stuff coming up. It might. Guess what? If they come out and they don't quite hit the mark, if you're trying like they are trying now, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. All right. Maybe a movie that would have, under the old regime that would have made like 350 or whatever million been a bomb. If you're, you make it under your regime and you're getting your wings under you, you get the benefit of the doubt sometimes. All right. You might have a Captain Marvel in there that had no business making $1 billion but the goodwill of what Marvel had built and the fact that they placed it in between two other strong movies and the Infinity saga, there you go. And that's what you're probably going to see now. You're starting to see them lay this plan out. Right now, they're doing it with inherited movies. Just imagine what's going to happen when they get their own movies together, when they come up with their own concepts. I think the sky's the limit at this point. All right, that dude Vince. All right, I'm usually playing online game at this time. Yeah, I'm usually eating and watching watching sports highlights and getting my emails and stuff ready, and getting ready for the next day, and just unwinding with music. Usually when I get home, I almost exclusively turn on something hard, as far as like, I'll turn on Metallica, I'll turn on Master of Puppets or something like that, and I'll start with the really, 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 really fast hard stuff. Like I'll start off with Harvester of Starlight, right, and then I'll wrap it up with Nothing Else Matters. Or if I've had a really, really rough day and I can't beat the hell out of anybody, but I can do it in my head with my music, I might turn on some Slayer. Other than that, the week that the Dodgers got eliminated by the Padres after we did our overnight street, I played Rain and Blood. That's what I'm usually doing right now. But I figured, what, I need to, I didn't want to wait and until Friday to get this point across, and then I wanted to hear from you guys because, like I said, this is a really cool time to be a comic book movie fan. I saw the trailer for Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. I kind of had fun with the two previous Ant-Man movies, but seeing Kang there in front of you, and as a kid, I grew up with Kang being one of the most complex and entertaining villains that Marvel had. Time travel before the movies played it out was really, really a cool concept in the comic books, and he was you had to know your shit to understand Kang, Immortus, Scarlet Centurion, Rama Tut, all these things. So now seeing it integrated and in the trailers looks very well. I'm excited. I'm excited for Black Panther, even though I wish they would recast T'Challa. That's not a decision that's going to stop me from going to or enjoying that movie if it's as epic as it looked like. And then I have Black Adam. And then not only do I have Black Adam, I have that what's to come feeling again when it comes to DC films. And I haven't had that in a very, very long time. So it warranted me being up at 12:39 Pacific time. All right, fourth 1,000 headless cameos. Yeah, they can be looked at as a build-up, but I hope they are in the past. Because, like I said, I think if they would have put another headless cameo in Black Adam, that would have created the exact opposite what they created with putting him in the movie, and even if it's for 5 seconds, and that would have created the exact opposite of what Cavill's announcement was today. That would have just purely pissed people off. I think you would have really undone a lot of things, and because people that pissed people off. All right, that pissed people off. And now that we know why it happened, it makes no more headless cameos. There you go. No more headless cameos. No more fake mustaches. No more any of that stuff. And by the way, fourth 1,000, I did get your message as well. Your package will be. I will go ahead and send you the link that for shipping and handling. And by the way, guys who are getting Black Adam stuff that we announced on Saturday night, I'm only going to send you a link to pay for the shipping and handling if it is absorbent. I mean, if it's like not absorbent, but if it's more than I can spend, then I would send you. T-shirts and comic books are generally not that expensive, so you may not even get a link from me, and I just might pocket, just send it out to you, just because I like spreading the enjoyment, throughout the fandom. So keep an eye out for your return message and your package forth. All right, hopefully Amada passed by Cavill on his way out. and I would love to see that SNL skit where it's just a headless Cavill passing by Hamada. But you know what? Like I said, I don't have any hate for Hamada. He did what they wanted him to do. He had a failed mission from the start. Remember, they brought him in to come in and cut budgets and do things on a lower dollar. That's a problem because, like I've said over and over again, and I'll take this to the grave, there is no such thing as a discount Superman. There is no such thing as a discount Batman. Batman, even though you can get away with a little bit more because he's a grounded character, but once you start elevating Batman into other things, especially when it's a shared universe, there is no such thing as a discount Batman. There is no such thing as a discount Wonder Woman, Flash, etc., etc., etc. When you try to come in and start cutting corners with and costs with those IPs, you're going to look stupid and you're going to fail. And that's what happened. The mission was doomed from the outset. And unfortunately, he was the one pegged to carry out that mission. And I don't know if he could have done a greater job. That's what he is. That's what he does. So I think he needs to be with mid-level budget horror, which is what he's really good at, and he'll bounce back. He'll bounce back with another kind. Even Marvel might use him, but Marvel will use them in the context of their mission. They had a better mission for him, but Warner Brothers trying to cut costs. You can't clip coupons and deal with generational characters like that. That was stupid. That was a stupid mission by Emmerich. That was a stupid mission by Sarnoff, and they pretty much set him up to fail. He was never going to succeed. All right, Hunter Iggy, how you doing, Hunter? All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Texas Voodoo. I'm gonna just call you Texas Voodoo. Do you think we'll get Cyborg, Green Lantern, etc. movies? I think we're gonna get a Green Lantern movie. I know there's a show planned. I don't know if that's. I know that people, it's in pre-production and it's moving further along. I really don't think that show is going to happen. And the reason why I don't think that show is going to happen is because Zaslav seems to have put the emphasis on making a big screen impression. So I think when we see Green Lantern, I think it very well might be in his own movie in connection with what we're going to see right now. I am preferential to shows. I love having more episodes and more time to bond with the character and evolve with the character. But from what Zaslav is saying, he wants things that are made to be put on the big screen. It's one of the reasons why Batgirl was shelved, because it did not meet the quality, the standard that he has set for the productions going forward. As far as Cyborg goes, yeah, eventually. I don't know how sticky the Ray Fisher situation is as far as with the new regime, because all of his problems are with people who are no longer there. There may be a situation where they're like, you know what, it's too inflammatory, even though it's not us. We had nothing to do with that. The situation might be too inflammatory to touch with him right now. I hope time heals and that they are able to at least get him in to finish that story arc, but I'm not sure. I don't have any inside information. And I really wouldn't want to recast that. If it's there, I would like it to be Ray Fisher. If they have to recast, that's fine. But I think if you're bringing back the band and you're getting back everybody, if you're able to get back Cavill, then I think it would be cool to have that established crowd. But do what you got to do, if you're Zaslav. All right. This thing is really slow tonight. It's better they call it MOS2, so there's no mistake of being a soft meta reboot. I think as long as they're telling the right story, and I don't think there's going to be a reboot. And I don't think there's no such thing as a soft reboot, by the way, guys. I've heard that term. I'm not knocking you for it, but I've heard that term before. When you reboot, you either start all the way over or you don't. All right. What other people are saying when they call it soft reboot, what they really mean is an alignment. When you reboot something, you change the atmosphere. You get rid of everything and you start fresh from your own point of view, usually with your own people, your own look, your own director, your own whatever. You may have some of the prior people as executives and cameos and all that, but for the most part, you're rebooting for a reason, because you cannot salvage what came before. Obviously, we have salvaged what has come before. Most of the actors are there, and some of them that have been there may be coming back. There's no reason to reboot. What might end up happening, and I think this is where a lot of people you are getting, is there might be a realignment. And for them to do a realignment, they need to decide what is canon. And for my thinking, it needs to be Zack Snyder's Justice League. You'll have to put it back in the movies again, obviously, but it's on HBO Max, and that's what it should be referred to. The reason being is because everything that was wrong with the previous regime is tied into the 2017 version of Justice League. Everything that you're trying to make people forget, all the mismanagement that people in the know about, that you're trying to make people forget, is wrapped up in that movie. There is no reason to even they show it all the time. They show it on TBS. I don't know why. It's still part of HBO Max, but there is no reason going forward to ever refer to Joss Whedon's version of Justice League ever again. Not when you're spreading goodwill right now. That's the last thing people want to see. It's a horrible movie, and it breeds contempt and bad reaction. But you have what most people consider a far superior movie already out there. So I would use that as their basis. If if I were them. Like I said, they don't have to refer to this immediately. Even the way Zack Snyder's Justice League ended, they ended by defeating Steppenwolf and setting Darkseid's plans back. Like I said before, he's still coming, but it's going to be a while for him to come. Realize that Darkseid is in another reality. He's in another, um, um, Apocalypse exists outside of the multiverse. So he has to use boom tubes, and a lot of other different technology. He in whatever it is going to take him a long time to get there. So there's plenty of other established storylines that you can use in between then if you really want to just regain your footing with these characters. That doesn't have to do with Darkseid. Now, eventually, it should build up to him because he is a major uniting villain. And you can start saying, hey, we fought this guy before, we fought Steppenwolf before, but now Darkseid's coming. Now what do we do? That's something that you can use these movies that you're doing now to slowly, over the next 3 years, build up to. And, so I see no reason for a reboot. And all the work that they're doing, getting Cavill back, getting Momoa doing his films and all these other things that they're doing just don't indicate that they're wanting to reboot anything. And you know how I feel about reboots. You know what the synonym for stupidity is reboot. And I'm a bonehead. The guys running this are way more accomplished than me. They're smarter than me. If I can see it with my whatever IQ, these guys can see it. I think they understand the kind of shaky ground that they're inheriting, and a reboot would crush that ground and set them back years beyond their 10-year plan. So, calling it Man of Steel 2. Listen, I personally, this is my personal preference. I think that the sequel to Man of Steel was Batman versus Superman. And then so on, simply because all these movies were intended to be a Superman story, Superman-centric story, Superman arc. So these movies are about him. None of these movies move or make any sense without him. So, though to me, Man of Steel, 2 was BVS and so on. Now, the reason why I wouldn't call it Man of Steel 2 is because that storyline has continued through other movies. I would say Man of Tomorrow, or quite frankly, there's never been a movie just has been named Superman. That's actually my preference. We've had Superman, the movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, 4, 5, 10, 12. We've had Superman Returns. We've had Man of Steel. We've never had a movie that's just super, like in Metallica. We had Master of Puppets. We had Kill 'Em All. We had Ride the Lightning. But their biggest album, their biggest and best-selling album, was simply a black album titled Metallica. So if it were me, next Cavill Superman is just Superman. It's to the point, gets to the heart of the matter. Just my preference. But hey, if they come out with it and it's Man of Steel 2, I'll take it. All right, so let's see who's next here. Marcus Cruz up late. Superman is officially ruined with that bright and red suit. And the Christopher. No, Marcus, you said this the other night. I'm going to tell you the same thing, man. Superman would have officially been ruined if he'd have spent more and more second beyond the 5 years that we haven't seen him. He was being ruined with the cape in the closet, whatever brightness that color is. Not having Superman for 5 years, what does more damage to the brand? Not having Superman in the circulation while all these comic book movies are being made, all these DC films are being made, while the big red S is sitting in the closet. And like I said, the fact that they were right, nobody in my crew, in my crowd, could even hear that shit. There was so much screaming and cheering that I could not hear the score. And the bright suit is fine. Now, the thing that I do worry about is everybody's like, we always need a brighter Superman. He was always sulking in the press and Man of Steel and all that. That's because knuckleheads never let the storyteller finish the story. Everybody wants the Superman, like I said, they want the finished product that is stuck in their childhood memory to the point where they will not let the storyteller tell another Superman story that has nothing to do with that. They want the happy-go-lucky finished product that is their childhood Superman, the one that they have in their head, but they won't let an accomplished storyteller tell a journey and show a journey from how a person would get to that. If Zack Snyder hadn't been meddled with, there's a good chance that you get to that. He always said that it was a journey that Superman had to get to where he was the hopeful, optimistic guy. But we're as fans are just too impatient, and especially when it's generational characters that have been portrayed by someone else. They want that guy. People want Christopher Reeve. They want all these guys in their head. Let the storyteller of the day tell his story. It's really that easy. But as far as that being ruined, no, dude. Like I said, who do you think could, you can't do more damage than the last regime did to Superman. You just can't. We didn't see him. The biggest improvement that refutes all this is that we saw him on the big screen. Like I said, he could have came into Michael Jackson's Beat It. No, first of all, nobody would have cared because nobody in my theater would have been able to hear it. And as far as his suits goes, that red S is there. Fine. I'm fine. Like I said, I am in that wait and see mode. I am in that. I am okay right now when it comes to Superman. All right. Will they do everything that I like? Probably not. But once again, 6-7 months ago, we weren't talking about the next Cavill movie at all. So small victories, guys. Brick by brick. We'll get there. All right. 14,000 Man of Tomorrow. Man of Tomorrow. Like I said, I think Superman is like blatantly to the point. It hits like a fist. But Man of Tomorrow, I'll take Man of Tomorrow. Hey, how you doing, Cisco? Yep, we're in a new era, man. We're in an era of what's next. I guess I was just gonna call it the what's next era because that's what I'm waiting for. What's next? What do I have to look? I can't wait for Shazam. I can't wait to wear my uniform that I christened the very first day that we were went to go see Shazam. This is where I started wearing that shirt. We did a promotion, much like we did for Black Adam, where all the people that went with me, I handed them shirts, with my logo. What side am I on? I'm not mirrored. My logo on this. This one's almost done, and we were all went to Shazam in unison, looking like this. And I was excited. I had fun. I love Shazam as a movie. I love the story. Now we have Shazam: Fear of the Gods coming in, and now we have the backdrop of Cavill being around. We have the backdrop of Black Adam being around, and now we're looking forward to that movie. When I left the Suicide Squad, I didn't have this sense of excitement. I didn't have this sense of wonderment because I didn't know what the hell was next, and I didn't know the quality of what was coming next. When I left Birds of Prey, what the hell's next? You just can only do that to your general fan to the point where they just give up on you. Now it's a different DC, hopefully. All right. Marcus Zimmer and or Junkie. Well, yeah. Next time you see Superman again, most likely will be Zimmer's score or his own score. This was just like a blowhorn. To blow horn to everybody who knows and has experienced Superman in some way, shape, or form. That message was there. Our Cavill guy for our generation was there, and the previous generation's music was there. They combined for a punch. They combined for a we're here. It was an announcement. We're here. Superman is back. Time to get happy about Superman. I was okay with it. I don't think you'll see the Williams score and anything else beyond this. This was just, you've been waiting for 5 years. He's been, kept in the closet for 5 years. Now he's back. That was just, a cathartic moment. All right. Who knows, man? I like Zack Snyder's Superman, so you're not going to get any argument here. It all depends too, though, of how much influence that Dwayne "Rock" Johnson has. What kind of Superman, or if it is him or the new Superman, how they want to do things. My preference is for the guy who casted Henry Cavill to be the one that directs him in these critical points. But if I get someone who's capable, I'll be okay. Hans Zimmer is the best score maker out there right now. I mean, I know I've told you guys over and over again what I think of his work. I've gone to see movies that I would not have gone to see simply so I could sit in the theater and listen to his score. Dunkirk is beautiful. He should have won for best score on that one. Interstellar is beautiful. Inception, in this, which bored me to tears. If you listen to Time from Inception, and there's a version of it on YouTube where you can just listen to it for like an hour solid, it's a beautiful, beautiful escalating song. So you're not going to get any argument on either of those things. If we get them, we get them. But who knows? Who knows now? Don't like that title. You don't like Superman? Just because you want something doesn't mean just Yeah, I mean, let's we'll be all right. We got somebody now we got two people that are listening to us right now. We have David Zaslav, and we have The Rock. For a long time, us fans, we didn't have anybody advocating for us. We didn't have anybody in those meetings. It was people who were adverse to us that looked at us like cults and all this other nonsense. We now have somebody in the room that is in there for us, that is speaking for us. Once again, we're not going to get everything we want, but we're going to get a lot more than we have the last 9 years. All right. All any fan wants to know is that their opinions are being taken into account. It is unbelievable to think that everything that you wish is going to, they're going to be able to do, or that it's going to be good business that they do. But if you're, if you have a guy like The Rock who's taking that extra mile to come out and listen to us, that's more than we've had. Hamada wasn't doing that. Emmerich wasn't doing that. None of their emissaries were doing that. Instead, we got people like Ann Sarnoff on the weekend of what should have been a very great moment for HBO Max, DC, and Warner Brothers, basically shitting on fans. Instead of just not saying anything and taking the win, you had her doing that. All right, so what a difference a few months makes, or what a difference a year makes. Because now instead of having somebody shitting on us and telling us, what we hoped for and what we just bought into and got excited for, it just is a cul-de-sac. We have a guy out there who's not only saying something different, but he's having fun while he says it. So I'm having a lot of fun. All right, for Marcus Cruz, $4,000. Zach was going to do that before. Yeah. Yeah, and BBS, I didn't think BBS was a bad movie. I actually like BBS. I don't think that there's too many things in it. I think, it was like a Spider-Man 3 where there was too many things that were shoehorned into it. I didn't think Doomsday being there. I didn't think that killing Superman needed to be part of the story arc that led to the Justice League for me. But you know what? That's the story that they chose. But even still, I liked it. I think, to me, BVS was just a piece of a story that was leading into, the invasion, the Earth War between the forces of Apocalypse and, the forces of mankind on Earth, or of the galaxy, because you were supposed to see Green Lantern. So to me, BBS was always just a piece of a larger puzzle that we just never, but so much emphasis is put on BBS because we never got the true ending. We got Zack Snyder's Justice League, but now, unless, it's going to take some time, when Darkseid comes back. But like I said, we have time. We have time for Darkseid to come back and become a threat. We have time. And just because it doesn't happen tomorrow, I really don't want to hear people like, restore the Snyderverse or else. I'm like, no, let's slow down here. Because 5 years ago I would have been with you, but a lot has changed in 5 years. And if I can get that story arc integrated into what these guys are doing, I want to give them the freedom to create a nice universe for us. And who knows, maybe Zack Snyder can be part of that. But I don't think we need to be jumping off the ship if he is not. We are dealing with every one of these characters are characters he casted. All right. Most of these derivative movies are coming from, there wouldn't have been a Peacemaker or the Suicide Squad if he doesn't cast the original people for the Suicide Squad. The main reason people made money off of the Suicide Squad was Harley Quinn, who casted her. So we're in the Snyderverse right now, but the difference is we need to have that story resolved at some point, in my opinion, for there to be a closed loop and for people to feel fulfilled. And I'm one of them. So, all right. So Superman existed before. So anyway, yeah, all these comic book characters, man, long after we're dust and in the ground, and all these directors are dust and in the ground, and all these actors are gone. These other people will be fanboying about this. Other people will be playing those characters, which is kind of cool, actually. This is our time. Superman only needs a black suit for generation. I'm fine with blue. Yeah. Oh, is that what he meant? Marcus? Did you mean the difference between the blue and white and the black suit? You're preferring the black suit, or are you talking about a different hue of the blue suit? Because I know there was some discussion about the suit being much brighter than it was for like Man of Steel or something like that. So. Yeah, I think it. I don't. To me, I think you're I think the using the twos and the threes are done as far as modern filmmaking. If you look at like most sequels right now, most of them don't have of numbers. Like in the old days, Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Now, when these movies get released, um it's a title afterwards. So Star Trek Beyond, Star Trek Into Darkness, and less and less John Wick Parabellum. You're seeing less and less with numbers, because what ends up happening is when you put a number next to it, it almost um it almost alienates it with a newer audience. And a lot of times, more times than not, actually, a lot of times people see the second movie before they see the first movie. A lot of people will see an unassociated movie first because they're with somebody, and then they'll go back and see that. So less and less, you're seeing the numbers move. Can anybody name a I mean Deadpool maybe? I mean, not too many franchises are using and Fast and the Furious, but that's actually part of the ridiculousness. I mean, Fast 4, Fast 10, Fast 13, but it's happening lesser and lesser. So for me, I prefer or prefer Superman or Man of Tomorrow, but I think Superman, because in all these years he's been on the screen, there's never been a movie that's just been Superman, and we're getting back to the core. So what better way to do it? But I will take it all, anything they will come up with. Mm. Plus, I got to see how that suit, and remember I got to get a better view of that suit because he's coming through smoke and stuff, and it's dark. All right, Ryan, Dawn of Hope, DCU fan, cinematic. Hey, William, I'm looking forward to the future of D. Yeah, I am too. I'm looking forward to buying into what they are going to give me, as opposed to holding on to what we didn't get. Because I think if we are patient, that P word again, we are going to get something special. I think we're going to eventually get what we have hoped for. It might not be exactly what it would have been 5 years ago, but we're not 5 years ago now. We're in 2022, headed into 2023. I'm ready to be happy when it comes to this stuff. I'm ready to have fun. I'm ready to stay up all night and talk with you guys about fun stuff when it comes to DC. I'm happy to be closing in on that. I'm sort of with you from a fan point of view, but from a business point of view, they're trying to merge those generations while they're letting you know it comes out. I didn't really notice that, to be honest with you. Like I said, in the music, these are things that didn't. The overwhelming aspect is Henry Cavill as Superman. All the other stuff, the peripherals, are not going to really take anything from me as far as my excitement. If they remove the curly hair and use a BBS hairline and give him a different suit, but even greater that he's there. I mean, that's where I'm at. All right, the MOS suit was used in the Black Adam cameo. Okay, so apparently there you go. All right, let's see. Cisco was very bright and red, though. The logo looked Christopher Reeve, yellow bright. Once again, that's just an improvement I'm okay with, All right, Aaron Pritchard, I think I'm starting to have a crush on Danny Garcia. Yeah, she looks great. And she could probably just beat the hell out of me. She's a bodybuilder, too. I saw she did her little thing today when she went into the telephone booth and watched to make, part of her making the announcement. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman, and she's just sculptured too. So yeah, I mean, that's okay to have a crush on Danny Garcia. I get what The Rock says. Black Adam was phase one type of film. Love the intro. Yeah, this is just the beginning for him. A lot of this is introductory for him. As these movies go on, I think they're going to get better. I think they're going to get more in depth. I think they're going to get more meat to the bone. All right. No, it's just dramatic. The slow folks. Does the slow motion imply that Superman and Black Adam can access the Speed Force? I don't think so, because the Flash is so much more faster. The nature of his powers taps into the Speed Force, whereas Black Adam and Superman can just go really fast, but they're not going to be as fast as Barry as he accesses the Speed Force. They can't access the Speed Force. Only somebody of his ilk and of his power level can, because his powers. The part of his power is that he accesses it, and I don't think that they can. At least I have not seen them. BVS 2 is my favorite. I'm kind of looking forward to a brighter Superman. It's been a dark and brooding mood for a decade now. Well, it's been a bright, dark, and brooding for a decade now because the knuckleheads in charge never let the person that was writing him and directing him finish the story. If you listen to Zack Snyder in some of these interviews, this was an arc. This was a journey. This was Superman finding out who he was and the thing around him, being able to use his powers and where he fits in and how people worship him like this. He was not always going to be the dark and brooding Superman. We never got a finish to his journey. All right, that's what the old man. That's the scar that the old management left on us. Is that people think that Henry Cavill Superman was always going to be this guy that we scowl on his face. That wasn't the case. We just never got to see the journey that Zack Snyder would have taken us on. So that once he reached that optimist about the world and seeing his place in it, he would be a more closer to the Superman a lot of people grew up with. But because fans want everything to be microwaved and immediately as they remember it, and you have bad management, we never got to see the end of that journey. That wasn't where Zack Snyder was going to leave him, in my opinion. That's just where we got stuck with him. Hi, Stella. All right, Danny Garcia has a lot. I can't talk. New age social media type marketing personality that will be needed. But yeah, I don't think she's great, but I think they're just going to get somebody. They really need to get somebody that is a studio head or that has run a major studio before, or is a top executive in a major studio. With Danny Garcia and The Rock and Hiram Garcia are their production guys in their own production companies. That's a huge difference. Now, do they need to be at the table? Oh, hell yeah. If there's a big table and the DC film set is sitting at the head of it, they need to be right there. They need to be right there. Because especially after they, have improving themselves. So, all right, did you see my question? Let's see. Did I miss your question? Let's go up here. What's up? That can't be your question. Was that your question? Or did you have one? Did I miss one? All right, Iggy, I'm not seeing. Here we go. Oh no. I don't see your other question other than what's up. If you have a different, go ahead and type it in right now and I'll answer it. All right. So wow, dude, there's a lot of night owls in this one. I thought I was just me. All right, let's see. All right, so MRAG. Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they just didn't understand things. If Michael Jordan does a Valzala, do you think cameo? No. No, I think they'll do that in a different world. I don't know if that's. I mean, I know it's slated to happen, but I think there's things are so new right now. I would have to see. I mean, maybe it's hard to say because right now I just don't see them moving in that direction. But I could be 100% wrong, and if I am, then. But yeah, under the same principles that they put Cavill in Black Adam and Black Adam in Shazam and saying so and so. So that under that logic, yeah, maybe it was a good chance. I'd say over 50% then, I guess. Emmerich and Hamada were trash and thankfully out of the picture. Might not go too hard. Emmerich, but they're out of the picture though. I am like I said, I don't want to be I don't want to hate the person for the position that they are put in because, like I said, I will never meet these people. So, but yeah, please put a capital Q so I know because right now, not only am I flying solo right now, but it's late. I might miss your shit. So, hey, Stella, how have you been? Fingers crossed. Quality director for MS2. Yeah, that would help. Give me Denny Villeneuve from Blade Runner 2029. All right, something's going on in the chat there. Chorin Prima. I just realized there wasn't the scene with Black Adam and Cheap Pie. Yeah, I know. We were talking about that today with a buddy of mine, where he slaps the F-35s down. Yeah, they just got rid of that. So there's probably an uncut version, probably a version where he's more brutal than he is. Like I said, there's a lot of killing in Black Adam for a PG-13 movie. All right, Cisco, the old shitty WBD wanted anything Snyder related produced gone, i.e. Callaway. Yeah, exactly. They had messed things up so bad. They like, it's like when your dog craps on the floor and he never wants to go back to that spot where he is when he knows there's a pile of shit there. And when you get home, he looks around. It's like, wow, somebody must have snuck in the house and shit on the floor. Damn it, but I'm okay. But they never want to go back to that spot while that pile of shit is there because they have to face the fact that they fucked up, and their egos will not allow them to do that. So. Ask Tack Aguilar 04. We'll get Nolan Snyder, producer that left from you. Yeah. Nolan did not like the decision making with the day and stuff, and plus he had some other issues. Obviously, Snyder, there's nobody left that Snyder had an issue with. So people, when they say that Snyder would never come back, I'm not saying that he would, but there's no reason for him not to. And people think that, oh, well, he's happy with Netflix. So what? He can be happy in several places, and he's busy at Netflix. I'm like I said, once again. We fans think that our limitations and our ability to handle mass projects like this are the limitations of people who are in the top 1% of their craft and have things at their disposal like private jets, giant studios where they can film multiple things, like The Flash filming his scene for Zack Snyder's Justice League while he's filming things for the Potter movies. We're in a modern era now, and we have people that are executive producers and can work under him that can carry that torch for him and are an email away from his influence. So yeah, I think that with most of those guys gone, there's nobody there left during when that gave Snyder those issues. There's nobody there left that gave Nolan those issues. And I think that time will heal a lot of that, especially if they can string together wins, like, really good movies and acclaim, so especially with Nolan. All right, H-Bar's hanging in there. Okay, so all right. No, I'm having issues on my end too. I'm seeing it in the hold on, because I'm seeing it in StreamYards. Let me mute myself. All right, I'm gonna try this now. I think the virtual background, that's my theory, that the virtual background was messing with me. Yeah, the virtual background I was using to blur out my little hut that I'm in this late at night must have been screwing with the audio. So ooh, that sucked. Yeah. At least you got to, you know what? You could be stuck in worse places, H parts. All right, Hunter Iggy. I'm just mentioning Sisko's name, so I'm mentioning people I'm bad at. Yeah, guys, come on now. Let's relax. Let's relax. We're here to have fun. Remember, if it's not fun, we don't want to do it. I think this regime would have Zach finish his stuff and they wouldn't have. They would have. This regime seems to see the value that the previous one couldn't, and it's that easy. So all right, William, have you seen? Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. I had my suspicions about it. I didn't think that they could pull that off, and they pulled that off. They turned an '80s horror franchise into something that I'm was really excited to see. So I hope to see more of that. All right, yeah, you're right. Firm belief for certain people get too many chances in these chats amongst the community. I try to engage everybody. I try not to ban anybody. I try to keep our chat to a certain tone. I mean, very rarely have we had any issues. Even Marcus Cruz is just, he's bringing up questions. I mean, Marcus, if you're in there, kind of direct your angst towards me, and I'll answer whatever questions you want to. But yeah, we don't want any chat bites. I see that everywhere, and it's so annoying. No, I want you to engage, but engage me. I mean, you don't have to engage in chat. Engage me. I'll answer anything while I'm here. Unless I pass out from exhaustion, I'll answer anything you want. You don't have to. Not everybody in the chat needs to talk to each other all the time. Let's see. All right. Yeah, and we'll keep eye on things. All right. Yeah, and like I said, beware, guys, when you guys engage each other. Words on the screen, it's different when we're talking to each other. That's why whenever I'm chatting with people on a Facebook thing or whatever like that, and I need to really say something to them, I'll pick up the phone and we'll do a video call or something like that. And because things can be taken context out of and the thing. But yeah, let's okay. Don't do that. That's mean. Okay, now I'm gonna be civil now. All right, he's my fan theory. Come true everything. You know what though? I I have no problem engaging that because I think that's what happened. Um, when I respond to anybody like that, if they are like that, I try to bring some type of reason and levity to it to the point where you know what I mean. I don't think people are engaged properly sometimes. That's just me, but sometimes it can get out of hand. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and skip. Blackstar Afro, nice to see you. Amada did not do what he was supposed to do when he was in charge. He did with Jeff Johns, Toby Emmerich, and Berg. Yeah. Just that barrel of geniuses right there. So I'm glad we don't have to hear it. Yeah, so let me see. I hope I don't have to throw anybody out of my chat. Come on, guys, just be mellow. It's 1:20 in the morning. I wish Elbow was joining. Yeah, but you know what? Idris Elba was cool, but you know what? They got Wayne T. Carr played a good John Stewart. I mean, the one would have played it. What up, freaking restored? We're getting there. We're getting to something. I don't know if it's going to be exactly what we consider to be restored, but we're a lot closer than we were in 2017 when we were just running through all these conspiracy theories in our head about what was next and everything else. So I just love where we're at now. The Chris Reeve footage Snyder put in Man of Steel was awesome. I agree. I vote for Man of Surprise. Yeah, like I said, I would not reject that at all. I have my preference, but I would not reject that. I'm not a stupid person. I just want to have a good conversation with you guys about Superman from my point of view. That's cool, dude, and I have no problem with that. Just understand, take a look at what you're typing and how it might sound in the chat, and keep it in the context. Putting in opinions out there. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here at 1:21 at night. I don't mind. Just understand that we want to keep this civil. If you got to watch my anything I've done for quite a while, I try to be a little bit different than some of the other shows that kind of like let things get crazy and people leave hurt feelings, and it's just not that environment, dude. So just dial it back a little bit. I want to hear what you have to say. We just have to do it in a way that is we're in a group right now. It's like if you were at a restaurant in a group with a bunch of people, we want to make it to where nobody's opinion is getting stomped on, and that includes you. All right, everybody saying what up to each other. Superman, Last Sun of Krypton. You know what? That's even cool. MOS sequel should be titled Superman Legacy or The Superman or The Superman. Listening, this is right with Batman. Superman Rebirth. I got bad feelings about Rebirth, Jeff Johns, or Superman, Man of Tomorrow. I just love Superman, but you know what? None of those other than Rebirth. Ugh. I'm sorry. I just think of Jeff Johns and 52 and all that, but none of those are horrible. Superman, Last Son of Krypton. I like that one. Man of Tomorrow, or Superman all day. Yeah, like I said, I'm just happy to be able to have a discussion about what the next Superman movie is going to be. That alone is a victory. That alone is great. All right, we weren't having this conversation a year ago. We are now in a place where we are having a conversation about what the next Superman title should be. That is awesome. So, all right, let's see. All right, just something I hate about StreamYard. Yeah, well, I would see it anyway. All right, so hi, Bell. I think. Hey, is this your first time on my channel? Hi, Bell Rev. I'm usually chiming into your channel. You are my favorite F-bomb factory. When I tune into your show and you're not dropping F-bombs, I'm typing in, is everything okay? I need to know the world is on its axis, and I'm not confident that there's going to be a tomorrow until I hear Bell drop an F-bomb, and then I know everything is okay. There she goes. There she goes. All right, Bill. Oh, you sounded funny when you posted your cameo viewing. Oh, I gotta watch that because I know you've been one of the ones. And her and Chris Wong Swenson. Whenever something news breaks, that's why I had Chris Wong on the show a couple of days ago, and I had him on before. When I was watching certain people when the Snyderverse or Zack Snyder Justice League was announced, just watching those people who have been in the trenches since day one, just get that happiness. So I would have loved to have been sitting next to them in Black Adam when Superman came out. Yeah, Cavill restored for sure. That is something I can't go. That's gonna a lot of that's gonna depend on the Flash. So, all right, guys, I have hold on, let me see one more question. But what would you have done though if there had been a second post scene credit and where Amanda Waller had a clone of Superboy in the chamber? Would then you were here, Superman fails. Sounds outlandish, but right now, this new direction has me to the point where I'm like, let's see. Even sounds cool. That's a very unique idea, and I'm willing to give everything a chance now. All right, I'm about to wrap it up. Yeah, and the way he walked through the smoke was like, and the way he flew down where you could see his silhouette. That's where my crowd was like, because you knew it was him. And then that tense delay where he's coming through the smoke. Yeah, I loved it too, man. Like I said, I wasn't one of the men that teared up in the crowd, but there were some men that got some stuff in their eye. Yes, I think definitely. I think what's happening now is you're going to see these things being brought together. Even the ones that they didn't, that the new regime didn't greenlight, the things that Cavill's been working on, you're going to see a lot more continuity than you have before. Like I said, it's great that we have these one-offs, the Jokers, and all that stuff, but the money generated through a shared universe is massive in comparison to those. So I definitely think if I had to put my money down, I definitely think that Shazam, Black Adam will be in Shazam post credits. All right. Yeah. 5 years is too long. But to be doing comic book movies and to not have the very first superhero, you have the very first superhero under your roof, and you're not using him. And Zazoff, when he came in, Superman has been the biggest IPs we have been on the sideline for too long. When he started talking like that, I'm like, this guy, this is the right guy. This is the right guy. I don't think we need a Dawn title for a while. Something different. Yeah, like I said, you know what my preference is. I'm going to learn how to do polls in here, and we can do polls in here sometimes. All right. All right. So I'm just flipping through some of these things. All right. MOT would probably be the name of the mainstream. Yeah, I can take that. That's not a bad title. I'm just like Superman. No way to say it's no better way to emphasize the fact that who we're talking about than just nothing else but that title. But Man of Tomorrow was cool. I remember there's comics that were named Man of Tomorrow. Man of Tomorrow is fine. I honestly couldn't believe how intense it was. Okay, so you guys are having a conference, which is fine. All right, Superman Legacy, especially Brainiac is a baddie. Well, Man of Tomorrow would fit all that too, but hey, Legacy's fine. That would be a really good story. They were headed some of the things that they were doing in the Krypton TV series. I'm sad that they never got time that they needed to tell a story, and I hope that some of those stories are adopted, at least not transferred, but adopted, because I like to see more of Krypton. That's the only thing about Man of Steel that I did not. And I understand it was an origin story, but there's so much to Krypton that we didn't get it to. So yeah, so Larry Kozlowski. Yeah, it just it just is a statement to me. To me, it's a title and it's a statement. Well, Junkie is heavily influenced by a lot of different composers. However, I don't think Junkie's trying to be too hard like Zimmer, because he adds a lot of elements. He has a lot of elements to his scores that Zimmer just does not have. He adds a lot of instruments that Zimmer does not use, and his style is I think is drastically different from Zimmer. Now there may be some influence and admiration, but yeah, Hans Zimmer is like one of the greats of all times. I mean, and then you have John Williams. I mean, there's going to be those guys that are influenced and that are going to, but I think Junkie XL has you just listen to the speed of force. I mean, force of speed. When in Zack Snyder's Justice League, where the Flash is reversing time. I've never heard anything like that in a Hans Zimmer score, and that's not to knock Hans Zimmer. It was what he did in that moment was very unique, and I love listening to that over and over again. It's one of the best things about Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I personally don't think he tries too hard to be him. There may be some influences there, but I think Jusky LL is different enough to be distinguished as an own thing. He did the Dark Tower score. Yes, he did. Yeah, he's a mentor to a lot of these guys. So, and especially him and Junkie XL as a guy who does superhero movies. So, when someone is your teacher, the style will rub off on you. Yeah, it's like Jedi's. All right, I feel like he uses drums too much for his soundtracks. As a guy who likes the bands that I've mentioned on here, he's different. He's different, All right, H-Bar. I'm sorry, I almost called you H-Bar. Fourth 1000. They need to get Harley Quinn back on track. Or if you only known her through the movies, you don't know jack about her character. Unfortunately, 90%. Oh, actually, not 90. I would say 70, because the other ones are going to know her through the cartoons, as that's where she first appeared. Yeah, especially that one where he's floating, he takes flight. Yeah. All right, guys. I am going to go ahead and wrap it up, because it is now 1:30 1:30 a.m. here and there, and I know it has to be super late, and that probably 4 or something. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for coming and joining my another impromptu late night. I just wanted to express my thoughts about Superman's Henry Cavill Superman's official return and how it was announced, how it was done. And I just wanted to spread that energy that I had, that I am waiting for what's next energy, that I hope that will start spreading throughout the DC fandom and replace a lot of the nonsense that's been there for years. Where there's been gaps in time and story and character, we've let things seep in that have been damaging. And now we have something to fill those gaps and be happy about. So thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for staying up with me. And like I said, this isn't the last time. We're going to be doing this more and more often. And as they become less impromptu, I'm going to have them more polished off and more, they'll all take place here in my my back office. But I'll start adding some different types of screens and some different types of stuff. It'll be a little bit more produced. I had no plans on doing this tonight, but like I said, with the news that hit today, I just really wanted to talk to people about it. And, outside of my store, there's not always a group of people that I can just sit and talk for hours on end. So thank you guys for joining me for this 90 minutes. And I will see you sooner than later. Bye.